Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a framed card, and I was inspired by this pack of cards that I picked up at my local craft store. I ended up making this card from it, and I'll show you at the end how I did that. I did a time lapse, so it's only about 22 seconds long. But after I got done making it, I thought, I bet there's a way that I can do this without having to buy this card pack. And so that's what I set out to do in today's video. Now I have these little, they're like, they're I don't know what they're called, cutting templates, and that's what I'm using. So I will link things down below to help you do the same type technique. But I found mine at Joann's or some big hobby store. I think it was Joann's. But all you have to do is just score your cardstock down the middle, 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, cut, and then you score to the 4.25, and that'll give you the perfect A2 card size. This is a wood grade cardstock that I'm using, and that's why I end up creating my art on a piece of Nina white cardstock. However, I really liked the texture that it provided. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut a square into my panel, and it's going to create a frame. This is really easy to do. So I'm just cutting this square out into my panel, and then I am going to just disregard that center piece. I actually couldn't find the little cutter that came with it, which is super disappointing because it was a pretty good cutter. So I'm using just another one that I have in my stash that's super old, but I'll find you guys a better one if it's not part of this set that I have linked down below so that you can have a cutter as well. It didn't cut all the way because I am using a glass mat, so I go ahead and take some scissors and cut out the rest of it. And then I'm just going to put my watermark on the back. Even though I have this frame cut out on the side that I know needs to be decorated and is the front of the card, I always like to put my water card on the back just so I can have a reference and I don't get it confused and I don't decorate the wrong side. Though on this card it was unnecessary. To keep the line clean as I ink, I'm just putting some mint tape down along my crease line, and that way I don't have to concern myself too much if I get my inks out of the bounds and get a sloppy line. Sloppy lines don't bother me, but I know they bother a lot of other people. I'm just using my Distress Oxide and Candied Apple to add some color to the front of this. I really am digging on my Distress Oxides lately. I'm finding them to blend beautifully, and they're super creamy. And I've always preferred my Distress inks over the Oxides, but lately, maybe it's because of the new colors that have come out by Tim Holtz, but I just am really enjoying using these, so I just went with it, and I got a pretty good coverage there. I do go ahead and just spritz it with some water to get it to activate a little bit and also to set. You're going to notice that my blending tools are kind of all over the place today. I'm using a makeup blending tool, and then I'm also using like a blending brush. I literally was grabbing things on my desk to blend with. And for me, that's just a lot of fun, and it encourages the creativity. So that's why I ended up blending with some funky stuff, but you're going to see that. And what's so cool is everything that I used to create that first 5x7 card that I bought pre-done, I'm doing to create this A2 card size. This is a stamp set by Sassy and Crafty. I really like it, and I haven't had an opportunity to play with it. I am inking it up in Copic Safe ink, which is the Memento, I believe that's what it is. Tuxedo black. I'm just lining it up, and ironically, I only have to stamp this image once. And I'm using that kind of ink because I'm going to use alcohol markers. This is the first time that I've ever used these alcohol markers, and they are by Tonic. I was actually quite impressed with them, which shocked me because they were so inexpensive. And I go over and I first layer on a light layer, and then I fill it in with 2 more shades, a medium and then a dark. And to blend the colors out, I don't use a colorless blender. I actually use that lighter shade that I started with. Colorless blenders are really color erasers, and it doesn't indeed blend. Whereas if you want the blending ability, you are going to want to go with the lightest alcohol marker that you started with. I also am coloring on a scratch piece of paper, and that way if it gets too soppy in the back and too wet in the back, the ink has a place to go and it won't seep back up into my project as easily as it would if I was just working on my silicone or glass mat. One thing that I've discovered as I am coloring is in shading is to follow the artist's line. So wherever there's a crease or a line or a artistic stroke, go over that with your alcohol marker, and that'll just allow everything to blend in beautifully and look more natural. So that's what I did with this, is I was just going over those. And this is my darker shade, so I'm just going to add some shadowing. I by no means am a Copic specialist. I've never taken a class on alcohol ink. This is all coming from a crafter, a novice, and what I have learned playing with them. I really enjoy them, and I think that the results are pretty good considering that I'm not a colorist per se. I haven't always enjoyed coloring, but as of lately, I have really been enjoying my time with my alcohol markers and trying out different brands. And this today, the Nuvo ones done by Tonic Studios, were a lot of fun. If you guys are interested in anything I'm using, I will have direct links provided for you down below, so make sure that you check those out. If I don't have the exact product that I'm using, because some of this stuff may be sold out or old, I will try to do my best to find you a good substitute, if not better than what I'm using in this video. Now, of course, I have to do my little infomercial, and that is, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I certainly hope that you consider doing so. If you enjoy videos like this, a crafter just learning how to do different paper crafting techniques or unboxings, anything that's paper crafting related, that I'm your girl. I don't edit out mistakes a lot, so you get to see me work through things. If you enjoy that kind of content, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can be notified on when I have a new video dropping. The algorithm gods of YouTube really like that. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you have any comments or questions, make sure that you leave them down below. Also, if you guys are involved in any groups on social media or Pinterest and you think that this could be of value to someone, please share. I would love it. I so appreciate it, you guys. So once I got done coloring it, I actually took some Distress Oxide and squeezed lemonade and went over the background with it with a couple of my blending brushes. And then I'm just using my Flamingo to add in those beams, and it layers so pretty on top of this. One thing you want to keep in mind when you are layering colors like this, Distress Oxide is blendable when it's wet and before it's set. So you just want to keep in mind your color families. You want to keep your cool colors, anything that's related to water. So blue is a cool color. Green would work nice with blue, so on and so forth with your cool colors. And then your warm colors with your warm colors, which is yellow, anything that's like fire related, red. So I know that the pink is going to layer really nicely on top of that yellow because of the color. Now, if you take a look at it, I did get sloppy, but one of the cool things about Oxides is I can just take a wet baby wiper paper towel and lightly rub away those areas that I got outside of my lines on my image. So it makes it really easy. And once that is all rubbed away, if I'm still not real happy with it, I can actually go back through once it dries with my Copic marker and color it even more. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but that's what I did. But right now I'm just going through and I am using a wet baby wipe to remove some of that Distress Oxides through that other stencil. I thought that that would be a lot of fun to give a little bit more dimension and interest to the piece. So it created like a chalky feel in those squares. That's pretty stinking cool. Once I get the card put together, I go ahead and put it back into my MISTI so I can add the stamp sentiment. You can add this sentiment before you do all of the coloring and shading. However, I like to add it after just because it really helps make it pop a little bit better. And I do enjoy using the MISTI so I can get perfect alignment. And if I have to stamp it again, I totally can, and it won't be hard. However, this one turned out pretty cute. I did add some glossy accents off screen on the heart as well as the nails. I did that on the same for that first card as well. And I really love how this turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and real quickly just show you the time lapse of creating the matching envelopes for this as well as that first card.